All right. Good afternoon. My name is Hartson. With Wells Fargo Bank, and with all the information we're given in this program, I'm trying to find one that I could pick out. It's kind of difficult, but really the one that struggled the most to me was DISC. And part of it might have been because of the first session together, or Mrs. T, who's just awesome. I knew her from Cedar Valley as well. Just the content itself. But the first example that really stood out to me was the comparison she gave of the 4 dimensions in a car. Your D would want to be, of course, in the driver's seat and control. Your C would want to be navigating. S would be in the back seat, concerned about the disagreement going on between B and C. And of course, I would just be in the back having fun. Initially, that confused me though, because my first thought was I want to be driving and in control. And of course, at that point, we hadn't received our results yet. So I wondered which dimension I would end up fitting in. I knew I wouldn't be I or S, but I'm like, which one would I be? It was clear up quickly for me when I found out there was a dimension that fit somebody who wanted to be driving and in control, and it turned out that I was the creative pattern, which is high D, high C, and with a very low I and S. And this was interesting to me because I'm not creative at all. In fact, to draw a stick figure, I need a ruler. But as I started thinking about it, in order to get things done in a timely manner and make sure they're accurate, you have to be creative in your approach. So as I considered creativeness, that's what stood out to me. Now, apparently another trait is I like to be right. I like to argue, and I don't avoid confrontation. So, as the slide always says, I'm not arguing with you, point one, I'm right. So that really stood out to me because it made me reflect on myself. I originally was going to try and present as to why that's not correct of me, argue with you guys about why it's not true, but I decided I must be right, so I didn't need to spend time doing that. But just kidding aside, it really made me reflect on myself. I never saw myself as a confrontational person. It made me reflect on that. It made me realize that some characteristics that other people were perceiving about me. And my wife quickly confirmed that it was accurate. So, there's so many personality tests out there, and to choose from many of these that I've done with companies before. A lot of them are listed on the slide, and this is only a small sample of what's out there. What's different about DISC as opposed to some of these other personality assessments that are out there? So my initial comparison, I started to draw some similarities between DISC and one that we use at my company often, that's Pace Palette. Both of them have 4 characteristics, so I immediately started drawing some correlation between them, and I saw adventure, which is the red category in Pace Palette, very similar to D for dominance, but I'm very low red adventure. I'm not adventurous. I make plans to make plans. So how did it end up being dominant D? Well, it's because DISC is not a personality test. It's what it is it's behavior-based assessments. So what that allows us to do is look at how behaviors play out. So for instance, it breaks down, D is for dominance, and that includes traits like being direct and demanding. I is for influence, which includes enthusiastic and impulsive. C includes being concise, passive, and a team person. And C is for perfectionist and systematic. How this really breaks down too is D's can be fast-paced and outspoken, while questioning and skeptical. I's are also fast-paced and outspoken, but they can be accepting and warm. You see some other correlations here too. Accepting and warm for S's, but also cautious and reflective. And C's can be cautious and reflective while questioning and skeptical. So what does this really look like in action? This is a great example I found of how these personalities would play out differently in a similar situation. If you were to slip on a banana peel, the D would simply yell at the banana peel and then move on. The I would, of course, grab everyone's attention and laugh at themselves. The F will make sure nobody saw what happened. And the C, of course, would then pick up the banana peel and immediately correct the situation. So knowing this, why don't we just look for a bunch of mini-me's as we're working? I'm a high DC, so I like people that get things done quickly and get them done accurately. So as I'm hiring, naturally, I want to find, my mind when I want to find people that are similar to me. But at what cost is that to me and my team? I think we can look at some good examples of how that could be a group that's highly dominated in S. There could be some lack of accountability. They might avoid high-pressure situations because they're more concerned about their connection with team members versus the results. And in some cases, it might even become a little bit awkward. Now, high I's, on the other hand, they definitely have a lot of fun. However, deadlines might get missed. Things like compliance, completing tasks, things like that might get missed because they're spending too much time trying to enjoy work and not necessarily trying to get done the tasks that are at hand. although the cubicle does look like a lot of fun. High Cs, I think we see a good result of what happens there. Look at the IRS. Things become overly complicated. They try to cover every possible scenario so that everything is getting analyzed, and you end up with 72,000 pages worth of tax law. And it gets to the point where everything's so complicated that really only the C's understand and nobody else on the team is going to end up understanding. And then D's, well, it becomes more about the argument and being right. In the case of government, as you can tell here, sometimes just nothing ever really gets done. So how does this work for when we're playing it out in our daily lives? How do I apply this? Well, we really need to have a balance on your team among this. So if you're a hiring manager, if you're building a team, you really need to have collaboration. You need to have some accuracy. You need to get results, but you also need to enjoy things as you're going along. So it's critical to have a good balance of these among your team in order to achieve success. So as I'm applying this in my life, do I decide, okay, this is a great concept, this is something I heard about one time, or do I decide, these rules don't really apply to me, I don't really need this? Well, in self-reflection, what I need to do is as I'm looking for team members, as I'm building my teams, I need to take the knowledge that I have of them, take some of the tools that are available, for instance, like DISC assessment, as I'm creating that team, to make sure there is a balance among that. And I know if I can take what I've learned in this and apply it as I'm building teams, as I'm rebuilding teams, that I can find success and I can create a successful team within Wells Fargo. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate the opportunity to be part of this program.